Welcome to the Haven Collective. I'm J.R. Foresteros, and this is the Beacon Bit. This is the fourth Sunday of Advent, and today we're talking about Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25. I find in our world today, particularly when we're talking about how to do the right thing, something comes up a lot. And it's usually when people have caused harm and they didn't mean to, we will defend them by saying, well, they didn't mean harm, right? They had good intentions. And that somehow I think we believe should absolve them of any guilt or culpability for the harm that's done. Because if we meant well, then we shouldn't be held liable for harm. And I'd like to suggest that that is actually insufficient if we're talking about not necessarily what is good, but what is holy and what is righteous. And I think the story of Joseph getting on board with Jesus's birth today indicates that, because Joseph is engaged to Mary to be married, and he finds out that she's pregnant. Now, we know that Mary is the pregnant by the Holy Spirit, and that this is a virgin birth, and that she has not been unfaithful to Joseph. Of course, Joseph does not know that, nor would he have any reason to think that. He assumes that Mary has been sexually active with someone else and that that's how she's gotten pregnant. And here's what I think is interesting about what Joseph does. Joseph decides to divorce her quietly. And in doing this, he goes above and beyond what is considered right or legal. In the law, this case being the law of Moses, the law that we have in Exodus, Deuteronomy, it's clear that Joseph could have Mary stoned to death, and that would be perfectly legal and right to do. Again, as far as he knows, right? Assuming that this illicit pregnancy is like every other out-of-wedlock pregnancy that's ever happened, right? He would be perfectly within his legal right to do that. But Joseph, we're told, because he is a godly man, doesn't want to just do what's legal. He's trying to go above and beyond the law and do something that's going to bring good into the world. And that would not be Mary and her unborn child being killed. So he decides he's going to divorce her quietly, take the hit to his reputation, and have them go about their separate ways. Again, I cannot overemphasize that Joseph's choice here is going above and beyond to be a better guy than he has to be. This is going above and beyond what's legal and in that framework than what's right. But even here, Joseph is not doing God's will. Right? We know that. His good intentions are yet still not aligned with God's will. And so God comes to him in a dream and says, hey, Joseph, here's what's happening. You did not know that this other thing was going on, but Mary was telling you the truth. And she is pregnant by the Holy Spirit, and I'm inviting you to be the stepfather to the Messiah. And so, of course, Joseph agrees. He takes Mary as his wife. She gives birth to Jesus. And then we have Joseph as the earthly father of the Messiah. None of this would have happened if Joseph had relied on purely his good intentions. And I think that's what makes this story really tricky. Because in our world, I think many of us really are excited by the idea of going above and beyond what's legal and looking instead for what's good. When it comes to talking about undocumented peoples, when it comes to talking about criminal justice reform, there are plenty of people that say, hey, the law's the law, you got to follow the law, and that's it. But there's a lot of us that really want to go above and beyond, and we're looking for what would be a good and wholesome situation that would honor everyone involved, both the perpetrators and the victims, both the lawbreakers and the people who suffer from that. Again, we do try to supersede the law. We do try to look for what's better than that. But this is a warning that even those good intentions are often not adequate because we have a limited perspective. We can't see what God can see. And so this story is a reminder that if we, particularly in the morally complex world that we find ourselves in, want to be a holy people, then what is required of us is a deep, consistent connection to God, and not just relying on our own intuition, not relying on our own intentions, and certainly not relying simply on human created laws, but relying on the guidance and the wisdom of the Holy Spirit that has the perfect perspective that we need during this time. I think this is going to be a really interesting and fruitful conversation. It's one I cannot wait to have with you this week in our Beacons. Until then, grace and peace go with you.